trying to survive, you know. Then the FSC Europe, which was my senior, also blew, came to Italy and he said, yeah, but why don't we sell those things in Sweden? He was from Sweden. And then he said to me, and we started sending him sweaters, and they said, oh, they're asking me for pants. They're asking me for this. So I started wearing the hat of clothing designer. But I didn't know what cotton was, what wool, I didn't know anything, you know. I just had an artist feelings and abilities because I was a musician and I've always been an artist in my life. So I transported this into fashion, and to make a very long story short, we did 2 years struggling and making mistakes and blah, 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 up to 1987, where our company, which was called Claudio Lugli, was grossing $8 million. And this was only possible because I applied what I knew of the admin tech, of the ethics tech. I just used it, you know, in the company and blah, blah, and it just flourished naturally. So from being broke and out of the seer, we were, you know, rich, affluent, and so we said, okay, let's go up the bridge again. So we had to go to Flag. So we pay for the whole bridge because we had money, and we go to Flag. And this is 1987. So my wife does a little bit of confessional and goes straight to OT5. You know what is OT? Okay, OT is the level that you reach when you do the bridge. The highest level are called operating thetan, OT. And there are different levels of OT that goes from 1 to 8, which is what is delivered now. And there you reach a better understanding of the universe, spiritual universe, mass universe, and the goal of OT is to become total cause over matter, energy, space, and time. So she goes fast. Instead, I get, you know, 50-hour confessional. Okay. They wanted to know all the crimes I did. So after that, I finished my confessional. I confessed all my crimes, which were 3, but always the same for 50 hours. And after that, they called me and they said, okay, Claudio, you are not eligible to go on the OT levels. And maybe they were right. And so I was pissed. And so I said, what do I do? What do I do? So I remember, you know, the ELS rundown, which is their special rundown that they give only at Flag. So I went to the registrar's office and said, okay, change everything. I want to do everything with a class 12 auditor. Give me the best. And so I do this rundown, which is really powerful, to the point that I'm not even interested anymore in my case. I just want to, you know, get out, produce, you know, create. And I create so much that my company goes like, in a year we reach 15 million. So the year after, we go to Flag. Since my intention was very low, I go to the person that has to give me the okay to go on my OT11, and I say, listen, this is my product, give me the eligibility. He said, yes, sir. Thank you. Because in the meantime, I was doing TV, radio, newspaper, celebrities, blah, blah, blah. So I was really contributing to Scientology.
Why did they, Hussein is asking why they stopped you a year before?
Because I was a bad guy, a bad boy. I had 3 overs, 50 hours. Because, you know.
לא ביקשו ממנו.
You see, to go on the OT levels, you have to have an approval from the CS, from the auditor, from the ethics officer. Depends who the auditor is, who the ethics officer is, who the CS is. So they judged, I was not, I didn't deserve. That was their judgment. So anyhow, after a year, I can do my OT levels, and I do it. I do OT4, OT5. I start immediately on OT7. I audit on OT7, I attest OT7, and I go immediately on the ship. By 1989, I finished OT8. So I do OT8, and now I'm OT8. And I should, yeah! Right after that, I receive a request, a special request. And the request is, please, Claudio, come on the ship for maiden voyage, because there is a major executive who wants to meet with you to have some clothes designed for him. So I go on the ship, and the major executive is David Miscavige.
Here is this?
1989. But I don't know who David Miscavige is. Nobody knows. For the regular Scientologists, we don't know. We don't know who David Miscavige is. We know there is WDC, Watchdog Comet. We know there are executive and structure. There is the Flag Bureau. That we think Scientology is coordinated and run by a management. Ken. I don't know what he says, but Ken is the only word I know. So I say Ken. What did he say?
When Hubbard died, if he was still in hiding.
Yeah, he was in hiding. Okay, so I can tell you about that later. But anyhow, David Miscavige is there. For me, it's like, okay, it's an executive. I meet with him. Hi, bim, bum, bam. I see the guy, and I say, okay, let's go in my room so I can dress him up, and he gets in his underwear. I'm one of the few that saw David Miscavige in underwear. Because when I was a kid, I didn't think that the Pope was going to shit. I'm not joking, I was thinking. So I'm there with David Miscavige, I measure him up, and blah, blah, blah. And I want to tell you one story on David Miscavige, so you understand, this guy is not smart. It's more than smart. Don't think that he fooled thousands of OTs and he's stupid. He fooled us because he's super evil and super smart. I just tell you this anecdote. Talk to him, what do you like, which kind of pants, which kind of shirts, which kind of this, that, blah, blah, to get an idea. And then I ask him, do you like ascots? These foulard that you put, the man puts here. Yeah. We're talking 1989. They were, fashionable in Italy. And he says, yeah, but I wouldn't wear them. I'm using the same tone level. Because LRH was wearing them. And you think, wow. I think, wow, this guy is great. So I'm happy, I met the guy, he's the boss, and everybody was following him in the ship, Guillaume Lefebvre and Mark Jäger and Martin Raschen and everybody with, Sior France, CMO in France flying. I'm in the Paloma Blanca with my Cuban cigar. And there comes Guillaume Lefebvre, communicator. Guillaume Lefebvre is the Executive Director International. I'm telling you this as a second anecdote to make you understand how smart this guy is. So, Guillaume communicated, and I knew Guillaume from other story, which the communicator comes and says, Claudio, Guillaume wants to meet you in the Starlight Cabaret, which is, the cabaret that is on the ship. Guillaume is the International. At the time, I was the OT committee chairman of Brescia, whatever. But I think he's calling me to tell me, what he wants as an OT committee, whatever, blah, blah. So I go there. I sit, Guillaume is there, I'm here. And Guillaume tells me, Claudio, this is what international management wants from you. We want you to become a millionaire. So you say to the IS, he didn't say that. We want you to become a millionaire. We want you to become the best designer in the world. We want you to drive Ferraris, go with private jets, blah, blah, blah. And I was on the good road to reach that because our company was becoming one of the major companies in Italy, fashion-wise. Vogue, we were doing like major advertising and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, yeah. So this is exactly what I decided after I did my else. So it's great to hear that this is what you want from me. And here comes the, how you call it, on the cake, the Jan looks at me and says, Claudio, you were a SEER member. And I get all the Miss Whittle in the world. Yes, you are right. Signed $1 billion, big thing. You know. And he says to me, Dad, don't worry, that's over. You need to become the biggest designer in the world. It was not Guillaume saying that. You know from where this was coming.
זה כמובן, לא...
I was talking international management once. Guess who's that? Okay. So, you know, I stayed for a few days on the ship because it was one of the very first maiden voyage. So Miscavige was talking and blah, 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 and you see the guy. And so I go back home to my company, you know, and my executive, you know, I have several executives there, most of them Scientologists. So I go back there and I sit in the chair and say, listen, okay, we need to become the best. It's a public course for international management. Totally in the Miscavige valence. So we start, and in a year, I was dying, physically. I'm not joking. I started having weird feelings. I was OT8 and I started feeling, and other OT8 were dying. And I'm not joking. My brother-in-law was 45, he got a stroke, and he was OT8.
Your brother-in-law? Whose brother?
Brother-in-law.
No, אני יודע מה זה brother-in-law. גיס on what side? On Renata?
Mine.
Okay.
So it was a general situation, but my situation was a bit different. So I'm there. What?
You didn't die?
I didn't. I mean, I was almost becoming the biggest designer in the world. I was dying, and my company went bankrupt because we received some, you know. I was PTS up to here, and Renata for the next 21 years, kept on asking a listing question. Who is the suppressive that is suppressing us? And we put a lots of names on the list, but not David Miscavige. And then the golden age of tech, and so, oh yeah, that's why everybody died and this, and I was this, and I was that. Yeah, the blind was leading the blind.
Natalie is saying that with all that you're saying, at the same time, still people were going up the bridge, were doing OT levels, were training. I mean, there were good results too.
Of course. You cannot totally suppress Scientology.
How come the company become to be bankrupt?
It's a very complex situation, but it was, I was very outspoken as a Scientologist. I was saying I was a Scientologist here, a Scientologist there, blah, 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 blah. And I received a bank industrial espionage, meaning it's technically complex, but basically we had 5 million in credit with banks, and from one day to another the bank says, okay, pay back because you're a bad credit, based on a report that was a false report. That's the story, okay. Long story short. We'll develop what you asked about the wins, anyhow, and I was one that had wins, you know. Till 89, I'm not saying I didn't have wins. The point is that the tech got perverted slowly. The example I usually give is the example of the frog. If you want to boil a frog, so you don't burn the frog, you don't throw the frog into a boiling water because she will recognize it's being boiled. if you want to boil the frog without that she recognizes of being boiled, you have to do it on a gradient. Okay. And in the beginning she likes it. It's warm, it's cozy. That's exactly what we thought. Oh, the golden age of tech. Yeah, the blind is leading the blind. Yeah, the deaf is leading the deaf. What are you saying?
You
see, suppressives can be very, very, very virtuous and hidden. That's why you don't recognize a suppressive. A suppressive is not somebody that comes here, hello, bam, bash, bam. There can be this kind of suppressive, but usually the real suppressive, hidden. You don't see. You just see everything collapsing. So we were not noticing and we didn't realize the real Mickiewicz plan. The real Mickiewicz plan that implied with the golden age of tech was to say, when he was saying the blind was leading the blind, he was saying that every auditor made so far is a piece of shit. Okay? And what did he use to make you believe in his message? What he did was very smart, okay? Because he said, okay, if you drill exactly the procedure, you will become a professional. Great. If I am a piano player, okay, and I want to play like Mozart, of course I have to drill on the scale, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And this is written in, music books, okay? But we are doing Scientology, okay? So our reference is not David Mickiewicz. What does LRH says? This is the question. So LRH never said you have to drill. He never, if not, he was not a stupid guy, okay? He could have said, okay guys, this is the academy level, you have to drill this and that and blah, blah, blah. He would have done the golden age of tech. No, he said the opposite. He said the opposite. He said, okay, you learn how to audit auditing, okay? And he made the internship, okay? There is where you learn to audit. On the academy, you are a mechanic. You are learning, what's needed to audit. So he tried to condensate what was totally necessary to audit. Okay? You will not be Mozart. If you are a class 4 auditor, you are not Mozart. Okay. You are a mechanic. This is the training that LRH developed, and it's on the bridge. It's the academy level. You come in the classroom with a supervisor, you study, you do some little auditing at the end of class 0, class 1, and then you will do your internship. There you learn how to audit under a CS that is competent and blah, blah, blah. Of course, if I would drill how to do a certain procedure, I become very good at the procedure. Okay? But this is not what LRH wrote. Because if LRH wanted it, he would have wrote it. The golden age of tech idea came out because LRH was talking to class 12s. Okay? Class 12 auditors is up here, top of the bridge. And he was saying that to make more perfect their auditing, they could develop drills. What do you do, Papa? The golden age of tech. But that's up there, class 12. So Mickiewicz, in his perfectionist SP move, wanted somebody be a class 12 when he doesn't even understand what auditing is. Okay? So this was the first move. So I was talking, for example, with Tammy the other day. I have nothing against drilling and perfecting your procedure, okay? But I want to use the LRH way. And LRH says, training the academy, come on. Do this auditing requirement. Go on class 1. Do this audit, go on class 2. And if we use that, we boom Scientology. The bridge is there to boom Scientology, to bring Scientology to the people. But it's like, okay, you are at the first grade, you have to be like a doctor at the university. It's stupid. Learn how to write. Oh, you can write. Good. Write a letter. Thank you. You see what I mean? This is LRH. Then you want to have the chronological understanding. You want to really understand why this process and this came about and blah, blah, blah. Do the Till special briefing course, class 6. But you don't need to be a class 6 auditor to give the grades. Okay? So this is LRH intention. But David Miscavige knows best. So, and researches have been made in the independent movement. Since the golden age of tech, the number of auditors made is near to 0. So the golden age of tech is not wrong in miscavology. But that miscavology is not Scientology. You want to do miscavology? Do miscavology. Study the way Miscavige, and then you become what I told you before. So Miscavige is very good marketing, PR shit. So he came out with this golden age of tech, and then he came out with the golden age of OTs. Because also OTs, there was no one OT made before the golden age of OT. Blind. Yeah, they were all blind. And I tell you a secret. Miscavige stopped. He closed the bridge. He closed the bridge. By this I mean, LRH in 1978 wrote an executive directive. Was the year of technical breakthrough, okay? So LRH wrote what the bridge had to be in 1978. David Miscavige in 1990 whatever, 7 or whatever, said that the OTs were blind leading the blind. So the reason why one was not OT was that because he was not studying and he didn't duplicate shit, didn't know what he was studying when he was doing the OT levels. My question several times I had this question, why should I trust you now if you fucked me up before? But, you know, okay, we trust you because you represent, we think, this is the trick. One of the major tricks of Miscavige is that he represents himself to Scientologists as the anointed one. He is the one that has been chosen by LRH to lead Scientology, which is a total lie. And it's a lie because if not, there would be an issue by LRH and written by LRH saying David Miscavige is hereby appointment as the supreme leader of Scientology. But LRH never wanted Scientology to be in the hand of a single person. And he made a very, very clear corporate structure where he, before leaving the body, and he structured Scientology how it should have been. And the power had to be balanced. There was a balance of power. Because he knew that if you leave Scientology in the hand of one person, you are at risk that he makes it into black Dianetics. Black Dianetics means using Dianetics in reverse. In reverse it means that if the goal of Scientology is to free a spiritual being, with reverse Scientology you make him into a slave. And this is what David Miscavige has been doing since 30 years. He has produced slaves. So when he did the golden age of tech for OTs, us OT, we thought, we did OT level before, right? And we had problems. And that's why I told you he put a stop on the bridge, and I explain you why. We thought, wow, that's why so many OT8s died. That's why I'm in the shit. That's why he's so, that's why she, that's why he, that's why that, okay? That was the why. that OTs were blind, leading the blind. Okay, so we have to redo the OT levels, okay? Because if you run, it's not that they are killing them. If you run a certain procedure in a wrong way, or if you stop the bridge.
When they was doing OTs.
Yeah, of course.
Something was wrong with the technology.
Yeah, some dead, and the bridge has been stopped. Okay, so this was Mickiewicz's reason why people were not really OTs, why OTs were dying, and of course, since this was coming from the Anointed One, we believed him. So we went back to flag, and lots of OTs went back on OT7 forever. Now, I told you that, I tell you one thing. The blind was not leading the blind. Mickiewicz was suppressing Scientology. This is the why. LRH established the bridge. He always worked to make us OT. His intention was to make us OT. What I mean by that? He wanted us to be self-determined, to be free, to be better, to stay better, to feel better, to be more successful, to be spiritual enlightened. Okay, this is LRH intention. So in '78, he explained all the technical breakthroughs that were made. And if you go and read it, I don't have it here, but I remember it exactly, he puts there the bridge of OT, okay? So he puts in sequence OT1, OT2, OT3. After OT3, there was a level called OT7, which increased your intention in handling what you were handling on OT3.
OT7?
OT7. It was
Okay.
called OT7. It's out, this number sequence is so, but yeah, it's like, okay. So what it said was like OT1, OT2, OT3. Okay, and this is a special, this is called the wall of fire. It's a very particular.
Okay.
Now, since OT3 is a very peculiar level, he developed a process to increase your ability to address this case. So he called it OT7, audited. Then you were going again addressing the OT3 case, and you were doing OT3 expanded. Then LRH found out in the development that drugs were very heavy on the whole track, and so the OT had to address this subject of drugs. So he developed OT4, which addresses drugs. And it was called OT drug rundown. Then in '78, LRH found NED for OT. NED for OT means that NOT handles at the OT level anything that has to do with the body, somatics. And this is where I'm saying the bridge has been stopped. Because LRH in 1978 wrote, after this, not, you do OT4, OT5, OT6.
And these are what? OT4, 5, 6 are not these levels here.
No, no, no. Earlier, before LRH developed and found the NED for OTs, this was right here, OT7, OT4, OT5, OT6. These are called the original OT4, 5, and 6. But people that was doing these levels, since they didn't do NED for OT, had issues with the body. Before NED for OTs, a person that was on OT3 that had a problem with the body was handled with standard Dianetic auditing. It was not good, and LRH found out it was actually very dangerous, and so when you develop knots, there is a specific issue where Dianetics is forbidden on any clear.
Okay.
If one is clear, that's it, no more Dianetics. So, before knots, one was OT1, 2, 3, 7, it's a process, so it's an audited, it's an action you were doing with an auditor.
So
OT4,
OT7 was not knots.
No. OT7 was an audited action to increase your ability to address the OT case.
Was it nothing similar?
No, nothing at all. There was no idea of knots back then. It was just an action to do that. But these are OT levels.
Real.
When LRH is talking about OT, it means that you can do OT drills to develop your OT abilities, okay? When I'm talking about OT abilities, I'm talking about exteriorization. I'm talking about handling of mass. I'm talking about OT on a gradient scale. Now, when one was trying to do these drills, it was having a bad effect on the body.
Oof.
So LRH found knots, which is an incredible level, that handles every aspect that has to do with the body. So there is no more problem doing OT4, 5, and 6.
What was this 46? Is this like 46 now? Or
No, nothing to do, nothing to do. Now,
Just numbers.
now I explain it. This is OT levels, okay? Now, knots, it's the second wall of fire, and handle a specific aspect of the case of an OT related to his body, okay? And it's a very long level.
Okay.
So he developed knots in 78 and was a very long level, and you had to go in an advanced organization to receive this level. So it's not like this, these are solo levels, so you solo audit, okay, you know? But this, you have to receive it from an auditor, so it's also expensive. You do more OT3. But I'm saying that Ron is not stupid. Ron knows that people live in the universe and they have a job, they don't have unlimited credit cards, funds, and whatever, and they're not billionaire, and so says, okay, knots is economically speaking very difficult. So already on knots, before this action could be done solo, and I explain you now, he said, okay, you don't have to do it all in sequence, because if not, you have to go in the AO, SHU, AO UK flag, and stay there like 6 months, 1 year. Why? Because this level is so powerful that you can do only sessions that are very short. You go in session, you say, this is the session. Pop, 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 boom, jump, ciao. 3 minutes.
Okay.
You are, meow. So that's why it's so long. It's not long in hours at the end. The hours that you do are not long. It's that the mechanical procedure to do the level is session, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 6 minutes. So it takes, and Ron said, okay, I have to solve this, you know. I have to be able to make people to do this level solo at home. It's too long. But there was in 78 a technical problem, meaning that the emitter was a Mark 5 emitter, was an emitter in wood, maybe you've seen pictures, and it was not so sensible. So if you were taking the cans and you were auditing in solo, which means you use only one end, it was not registering the charge.
Okay.
Everything was floating needle. So LRH worked hard, and the Mark 6 emitter got developed. So when the Mark 6 emitter got developed, people were audited on knots up to a point where they could handle the level by themselves. They still had to receive some knots, but as soon as the CS was evaluating, it's okay to go on solo, go solo. And then they were going home solo auditing. So nothing changed what you address on this level. What changes is that you're addressing it solo, okay? So if we go back to the bridge, these knots, solo knots, and this doesn't change. This plus this is what has always made it so an OT couldn't drill his ability back to become an OT. But not only this, LRH in 1952 developed some processes that are amazing.
Okay.
Maybe some of you read some of them. If you read the Philadelphia doctorate course, if you read the Creation of Human Ability, you ask yourself, when do I do this? Has never been cancelled. PDC has never been cancelled. Creation of Human Ability has never been cancelled as a book. In fact, a lot of processes you use on the grades, for example.